December 16, 1944. Ardennes Forest, Belgium. History remembers this date as the beginning of the Battle of the Bulge. For the soldiers of that time, it was just another frozen morning before combat. For those who arrived later, it was the moment when the rules of war were permanently broken. The forest was silent. Thick snow covered the ground, swallowing footsteps and muffling distant artillery. German soldiers of the 1st SS Panzer Division advanced cautiously along a narrow road hidden beneath pine branches. Their breath formed white clouds in the cold air. They expected resistance from American infantry, tanks, artillery, a familiar enemy using familiar weapons. They did not expect the future. At exactly 6 o'clock, the air ahead of the column began to vibrate. Not from an explosion, but from something far worse. Space itself folded inward, as if reality had been pulled too tight and finally tore. Snow lifted into the air, frozen in place for a heartbeat, then fell back to the ground. The Germans stopped. "What the hell?" someone whispered. Figures emerged from the rupture. They moved with confidence, purpose, and speed. Their uniforms were unlike anything seen in 1944. Strange patterns, muted colors, helmets without brims, faces hidden behind visors. Their rifles had no wooden stocks, no visible bolts, no exposed mechanisms. Then the vehicles appeared. They were not tanks as the Germans understood them. They were massive, angular machines with wide tracks and low turrets. Their armor absorbed the light instead of reflecting it. White identification numbers were painted on the sides, alongside a symbol that every German recognized instantly: the flag of the United States. Inside the lead vehicle, a commander studied a glowing digital map. "Contact confirmed," he said calmly. "Temporal insertion successful. Location: Ardennes. Date: December 16, 1944. Enemy forces identified as SS Panzer elements." A voice replied through his headset. "Rules of engagement unchanged. Maintain technological superiority. Minimize friendly casualties." The soldiers from the future knew exactly why they were here. The Germans fired first. MP-40s rattled, their bullets ripping through the morning fog. Rounds struck the armor of the lead vehicle and vanished without sparks, dents, or sound. The advancing infantry did not flinch. One American raised his rifle and fired a short burst. A German soldier collapsed instantly, as if someone had switched him off. "Multiple contacts front," came a report. The turret of the lead tank rotated. The shot was not loud. It was violent. The pressure wave alone shattered branches. The projectile punched through the first German tank, exited the second, and detonated behind them. Steel fragments rained across the road. For the crews of the Tigers, this was incomprehensible. Their guns could not reach the enemy. Their armor offered no protection. Training, experience, and courage meant nothing. The Americans advanced. They did not shout. They did not waste ammunition. Every movement was calculated. Advanced optics cut through smoke, snow, and foliage. Squad leaders shared positions instantly through encrypted networks. Every soldier knew where the enemy was, and where his teammates were. A German officer attempted to organize a defensive line. "Hold the position. Fall back." There was nowhere to fall back to. Small unmanned machines entered the forest. They moved quickly and silently, transmitting live images. Artillery from the future began to fire, not in barrages, but in precise, surgical strikes. Each bunker, each gun position disappeared seconds after being detected. Within 20 minutes, the road was silent again. Burning wrecks littered the snow. Weapons lay abandoned. Bodies were already being covered by falling snow. "Status report," the commander asked. "0 casualties," came the answer. He looked at the forest. This had not been a battle. It had been a demonstration. Before extraction, one soldier knelt and picked up a German rifle magazine from the ground. Cold steel from another era. The polymer frame of his own weapon felt alien by comparison. "They never had a chance," he said quietly. "They were never meant to," the commander replied. "History must remain intact." The rupture opened once more. Machines and soldiers disappeared as suddenly as they had arrived. Hours later, American forces of 1944 reached the area. They found destruction beyond explanation. No records could justify what they saw. No reports could describe it. Officially, the engagement never happened. But in the classified archives of the future, it was recorded as the only time a war ended before it truly began.